Hello YouTube and welcome back to Creatures, Caverns, and Crafting. Today we're going to take another page from our Mutant Crawl classic book to make ourselves a Screamer. The Screamers are a direct reference to A Boy and His Dog. That's a Harlan Ellison novella. Also, it was made into a 1975 movie starring Don Johnson. Highly recommend you see it. We're going to use the Sphereworks Zombie at War playset to make this. We have 35 figures, I believe, come with this, and there are 10 unique sculpts. Pretty good value for your buck. So let's take it to the table and see where we're at. Here's a quick look at the sculpts you're going to get. Here in a second I'm going to take one of the muscle conversions I did earlier just so you can see a size comparison if you decide to go that route in your gameplay. I'm not going to be doing a lot of modifications with these, pretty much just going to do some cleanup and some painting. We're going to start by putting these figures into a bowl of warm water with detergent. This is going to help break up any type of releasing agent that might be left over from the molding process. We can use a brush and just give them a soft scrub. After we've let them soak for about 20 minutes, we're going to rinse them off with some cool water. Just take your time with this, and then once we're done, we're going to allow them to dry. While we're waiting for things to dry, let's just enjoy the scenery. Our next step is to remove some of the mold lines here on the figure. This is just going to clean things up a little bit. When we go to put some paint on this, if you have mold lines, it's really going to stick out. I'm just going to go across with the razor knife. If you have a file, you can also do this as well. I'll be priming the figures using this Army Painter Necrotic Flesh. What I'll do is adhere these figures to a paint stir using some wall putty. This will allow an even distribution of paint on all the figures. I'll be using a Waywatcher glaze for my next step. As you can see, I've already applied this to some of the models. I'd save one for us. Just going to take my brush and start applying it onto the skin portion. It's okay when doing this if you get it on the clothing. Just remember we're going to go back and paint those clothing later on. And we're also going to reapply this at a later stage too. So don't get too crazy with it. And make sure we evenly spread it across the surface. I used Khaki Vallejo to do the shirts for the models. And then I did a brown violet for the helmet and the tanker's cap. I went over the pants with the US Field Drab. A red leather for the boots, and a green-gray for the straps and belts. I'll be using Quick Shade by the Army Painter. In this application, I'm going to use a soft tone. One thing to note, Army Painter can be expensive, so you can experiment using a wood stain. A dark color like Espresso might give you the same results. This is going to be oil-based, so we want to use an inexpensive brush. I have a fine horsehair brush I bought from Amazon. I think I bought 100 of these for $10. We're gently going to apply this to the model. We want to avoid scraping or hard scrubbing. We also want to gently apply it. A little goes a long ways, and watch for buildup in the recesses. This will start to pull down on the feet and the base. When that happens, just simply take your brush, dab it, and wipe it off into a napkin. Here's our model after the Army Painter has dried for several hours. Notice how it's left a shiny look to it. We're going to take care of all this by using some Testor's Dull Coat. We'll spray this on each model, allow it to dry. And it should come out looking something like this. Already great detail. We could actually go to the table with this if we wanted to. But we're going to add some more detail. To give the models a more radioactive look, I'm simply going to apply a second coat of the Waywatcher glaze. Just going to put a little bit on the brush and apply it to the flesh areas. Take your time. Be careful not to get this on the clothing. And we'll let that dry. Once we've allowed that to dry, we'll move on to detail work, where we just highlight the eyes and anything else that we want to pick out, such as the clothing. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to my YouTube channel. I know this was a bit of a different video. We did a little bit more painting instead of crafting, yet I like the look of these models. They're cartoonish, yet they're horrific at the same time. I think they'll fit perfectly on my Mutant Crawl Classic table. As always, like, subscribe, follow, and we'll see you next week. Stay safe.